set up a couple of events for them, and they just told me they're moving an event. I've been trying to reach him for 2 days. That's why I took the call.
And is he in California still? Or?
Yeah. But I've done work for everybody in boxing, including Don King. I actually testified against Don King in 2 trials.
What's the deal with Don King now? Where is
I don't know. You know what? He's nowhere. I wouldn't say he's in the big mix anymore.
Right.
He was for many years, and he had a really incredible career. You know, I tell people this about Don King all the time. I said he's a genius. He's a genius in many ways, and he's one of the hardest working, if not the hardest working guy I've ever met. He literally works from the minute he wakes up to the minute he goes to bed. And one of the most entertaining things I ever did was work for him on that Chavez-Whitaker fight at the Alamo Dome. I did all the live gate marketing for him on that in the whole Southwest region. And I saw him every day for like 2 or 3 months. He literally lived at the Mansion Hotel. We had an office there, and it was incredibly entertaining. But somewhere along the way, he always has to go. He always has to try to screw somebody or something. You know?
Well, they screwed me. They screwed me back when they had the first Super Bowl in Phoenix, and we were they wanted to do a show the night before the Super Bowl. So they called me, and I lined up. They even needed video for a few days before to get some like sunny shots or whatever, and that kind of thing. But I got them the ring girls. I set up interviews. I did all this kind of stuff. And then as soon as the show packed up, they wouldn't take my calls. They took off. They never paid me.
Well, I can't say that. Well, he paid me, but you know, when I represented Jesse James Leha, he was a 2-time world champion.
Right.
I'll never forget the late Dan Duver, who was a terrific promoter, and you know, one of the best minds in boxing I ever met. I mean, the guy just understood everything. You know, he got it. Some people in boxing just don't get it. They don't understand the business, and logic doesn't flush with them or something. You know, but Dan Duva did. And I remember when we signed a contract with Don King for Jesse James Leha, Dan said, "Hey, well, good luck. Now that you signed the contract, and the negotiating will begin." So that stuck with me. That was a great line. Now that you've signed the contract, the negotiating will begin. And he was so correct. I mean, it doesn't matter what Don King puts in the contract; he is not going to live up to it. Period. It doesn't matter to him what is in it, what his word is. To me, a contract is your word.
Right. And because you're from the old school, it's like almost like a handshake, and you have the respect for everybody. What you say goes. You know they know you'll deliver.
Oh, let me tell you, if I tell somebody something, most people I don't even have contracts with them. I have a handshake deal. You know, I don't send contracts to anybody to sign. Because I do, for people I do work with on a regular basis, like Top Rank and Golden Boy and some of the other promoters, it's pretty rare that I even have a contract with anybody. But I'll be damned if I tell someone to do something. If I can't do it, I'm going to bust my butt to make sure that I do everything to do it. You know, and then I'm going to try to figure out a better way or come up with a solution for them otherwise. But man, it was amazing how easy it was for him just to ignore the terms of a contract. It was unbelievable. But that was the only, you run across people like that in boxing, but you run across a lot of really good people too.
Right.
And people there's a lot of people looking in on the outside. They just assume everything's crooked. And I have people ask me, well, boy, how about that boxing? Boy, it must really be corrupt. And I say, yeah, it's almost as corrupt as politics. Gosh. You know, and just, if it gets a little more corrupt, it'll be as corrupt as the insurance business or the mortgage business or the oil and gas business. I said, come on, man. The thing about boxing is it's the best and the worst of free enterprise. It's the best in that anybody can do it, and anybody has an opportunity to do it. But the worst in that anybody can do it, everybody has an opportunity to do it. In NFL football, if you want to be an owner, you've got to go through all kinds of background checks, and you've got to get approved by the other owners. In boxing, you can be an owner.
Right.
Hell, I could be a fighter. I could actually fight if I could pass the physical. So,
Well, you probably could.
well, I could pass the physical. I assure you that. Anyway, so so that's good and it's bad. It allows some people in that don't deserve to be there and they shouldn't be there, and they don't have to have any experience or anything. They just jump in.
Right.
And so, it's but if the NFL football and Major League Baseball had a structure where everybody works separately, all the owners work separately on their own behalf, it would be a nightmare. This is a chaotic business structure where everything is settled by lawsuits. And the only recourse that you have if somebody screws you is to take them to court. That's it. And so it's just it's not the boxing, it's not the people in boxing, it's a structure that breeds corruption in some cases and discontent. There's a lot of bitterness towards each other because they're having to fight and steal from each other's, grab from each other's fighters, and and they have the right to do it because there's no president of the league standing over them saying that no, that's crazy, you can't do that. That's his fighter. He's under contract with him. And so it's the structure of the business that it's just a bad business model that but there's some really, really bright people involved in boxing. Bob Arum, he's a Harvard Law School graduate. Lou DiBella, Harvard Law School graduate. Dan Duval was a Seton Hall Law School graduate. The guys at HBO, the guys at Showtime, these are bright people. I deal with a lot of really intelligent people in boxing. And I deal with people I've done work in NBA basketball, hockey, tennis, baseball. The boxing people are very business savvy, and they're hard working people. They have to work. The survivors and the people who make money in boxing work extremely hard. They bust their ass. The ones who are lazy, and the ones who are stupid, they don't make it. They're here and they're gone. They don't survive. The smart ones survive. It's $1 billion industry.
It is.
There's a lot of money out there, but it's but TV revenues and everything's kind of shrunk the last several years, so that it makes it even a tougher fight for everybody in boxing. It doesn't make my job any easier when the industry's shrinking.
What do you think about? I'm supposed to interview Roy Jones Jr. soon.
Right.
What do you think? Do you think he should hang it up?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
What's your opinion on that?
Absolutely. It's for no other reason, for health reasons, because one of the hardest things for me in boxing is to see guys who I remember when they're bright young fighters, they had their full life, and you look in their eyes, you see this gleam, and just kind of, there's something fresh about them. And the hardest thing for me to see is a beaten fighter that's got years and years in the ring, and you can see it in their eyes. You can see the pain they've been through as a fighter, and all of a sudden, you remember how they spoke when you first met them, and they were on their way up and everything, and now all of a sudden their speech is a little bit slurred. These guys pay a heavy price. And man, it breaks my heart to see someone keep fighting. Yeah, that's when Jesse James Leha retired. He could have still fought, but he was. When you're old, when you get older like that, you can't stay healthy. You have little injuries, and even though these guys may still have the ability to fight, they're fighting injuries and they're fighting all kinds of things. And then they, all of a sudden, because they have all these nagging injuries and things, they can't protect themselves like they used to could. They don't have the reflexes, and that's when they really start getting hurt. Is when they start fighting at an older age, but at least Roy's fighting opponents that he can deal with.
Right. Well, a couple of months ago, I interviewed Jesse James Leha, and I could not believe how good a shape he was in now.
Oh yeah, he can still. James Leha he could fight now at 45 years old, and probably beat 8 out of 10 top 10 contenders. The last 3 years of his career, from Casa Zupan, he fought with a separated rib that can never get well, and a bad elbow. And I'm telling you, I think he would have knocked Arturo Gatti out if he had been healthy. Had he been healthy. But I know for a fact he had a bad elbow and a bad rib. As soon as he got hit in the rib in the second round, he lost his ability to fight at 100%. And he was never 100% at the end of his career, but he always took care of himself. No drugs, no alcohol. Clean living guy. Worked hard. And let me tell you, one of the best things that ever happened in my lifetime was Jesse James Leha. I mean, to be associated with him. I was his manager 17 years. That's like a marriage. You know?
Oh, yeah. But he's I just couldn't believe watching him train a few months back. He's
one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. But I'm real proud of him. He's got a nice family. He raised 2 good kids. His son's going to college now, about to graduate. When I met him, I don't think he owned a pair of dress shoes. I don't think he owned a pair of dress shoes. He had old beat up Mazda. And my proudest moment in boxing was when he lost to Gotti. We were in a limo going back to the hotel. And I said, James, I know we had a big hug in the locker room. We knew that was his last fight. He was crying. I had tears in my eyes. Anyway, and on the car back, I said, this is a great day. I said, you lost, but you know what? You won. You lost this battle, but you won the war. I said, man, the rest of your life you're going to be Jesse James Leha, world champion. I said, you're walking out healthy. I said, you walked into this business, you had to sell $400 worth of tickets for your first fight. I said, you're walking out with a $600,000 check, not a $3,000 check, and we pick you up off the floor. A $600,000 check in a limo. I said, when you got into the sport, you walked into it with a beat-up Mazda, didn't own a pair of dress shoes that I knew of. He was working at Luby's. He was working at Luby's when he was 19 years old. And 22 amateur fights, and to win 2 world titles and make $5 million, but more than anything else, you know, he walked out with a good name, a good reputation, which he's making a living. He's making a living being Jesse James Leha right now. Good guy. Everybody wants to help him, you know. But that's one of the best things that happened in my life was with him and his wife, his kids. And, you know, it was just, I love seeing that. I was a young guy. I was 32 years old when I started managing him, and we kind of grew up together. He's only 10 years younger than me.
Wow, that's
yeah.
That's good.
I wouldn't want to have to fight him because he could beat me.
I wouldn't, because I was watching. I couldn't believe. I mean, he still has the guns. He still has.
I tell you what, if I had a young contender right now, and somebody offered me 45-year-old Jesse James Leha, I would say no way. He should be in the Hall of Fame, really. He's not going to be because he didn't win the big fights, but he couldn't get. I mean, he couldn't get the mediocre championship fights like the Stevie Johnsons, the Kevin Kellys, the Tom Boo Boom Johnsons. No, he had to fight a Zuma Nelson. I'm talking about guys in the prime. A Zuma Nelson.
I was at that fight.
Zuma Nelson 4 times.
Right.
Oscar De La Hoya, Sugar Shane Mosley, Costa Zoo, Gabriel. I mean, he had this guy. When he lost for a lot of money. Mm-hmm. That was one thing I was proud of too. He never got beat for less than $200,000. And when he got beat, he got paid. And so, but you know, it took a Hall of Fame fighter to beat him. But had he had those easy title defenses like an Orlando Canizales, who had, you know, they literally got about half the guys, two-thirds of the guys rated just to fight him. Said Kushner did when he was coming up. I'm just saying, I don't want to use Orlando as an example, but there's a lot of guys, they get a lot of soft contenders, and they stack up, you know, 8-10 world title defenses, and all of a sudden they're in the Hall of Fame. This guy was a lot better fighter than a lot of the guys in the Hall of Fame. Jeff Finnick's in the Hall of Fame, and I mean, to me, James Leha would have knocked Jeff Finnick out in his prime. And but you know, he couldn't get those kind of fights.
Right.
He had to fight the guys that beat everybody.
Exactly.
But at least he got paid when he did. And, but he walked out with money in his pocket, healthy, and his reputation intact. You know, and so I was so man, that was such a. I would have been heartbroken if he walked out banged up, physically, mentally broke.
Right.
You know, and so that was one of my greatest accomplishments was managing his career. The hard thing is it's hard to find somebody like him. And you think I'd want to be all enthused about managing a bunch of fighters, but I'm not, because I know they're not all like him. I had several. I mean, had 4 or 5